It's Jennifer Colleen with Rocklines Magazine, and I'm here at the King of Clubs with Dane White from Combichrist. How's it going?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're happy to have you back in town. I met you like 2 years ago, and I remember saying like, "Oh, you guys come to Cleveland and Ohio all the time," and then like COVID hit and everything shut down. So it's cool to have you out and about. So
Yeah, it's good being back after so long too. So it's been way too long since we've been able to do what we do best. So been a minute.
So how is everything going so far on this tour? How's it been? How has it been different being out now with all these rules and regulations, or has it been different?
The world is so different now. I haven't noticed too much personally on like the restrictions and stuff like that. It seems pretty chill. Like I think I've personal responsibility. Everyone's looking out for themselves at the end of the day and doing what they have to do to feel safe. So that's all been good. More than anything, my body is not ready for this. It's not used to going this hard every night for 5-6 nights in a row. So that's getting some I'm taking some getting used to with my neck, especially with the head banging. But overall, it's been good so far. We're just like barely 6 shows in, and this is like our first kind of big haul we're playing. So we're excited for that. This is a beautiful venue. But overall, it's been good. It's a different lineup we're working with too this time. For this current tour, we have Jamie playing keys and guitar on this one, filling in for Eric 13, and then just me and Andy. So it's kind of a unique take on the Combichrist lineup, but cool nonetheless, I think. So yeah.
I know the story of how you came to be in Combichrist, but I love the story. So can you tell everyone the story for people that don't know? Because it's a neat story. It's such like a 2000s type story.
Yeah, like a shooting your shot kind of opportunity. But it really was. I've been a fan of the band for a long time, of course. Starting with 2011 when they were opening for Rammstein, and that's where I discovered them. So it was kind of already following the band a little bit. And I was at work as a working drummer in Orlando. I was at Disney doing a gig, and I was just kind of flipping through my phone, and I'm a fan of Joe Letts, of course, and I see that he's leaving. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so insane. Like, who can replace, like, he's such an integral part of that band. Like, who could even possibly replace that guy? And I just kind of started thinking, I was like, I could, like I could definitely do that. And just the wheels kind of started turning, and it was all in one day. I figured out who to reach out to, kind of just with my own sleuthing. And this is like, I sent him a resume. I was like, hey man, like, big fan of what you guys do, big fan of Joe. If you guys are having auditions, I'd love a chance to try. And didn't really think much of it, but to my surprise, the management and Andy got back to me in the same night, and they're like, "Yeah, man, thanks for reaching out. This has already kind of been in the works for a while, so we'll keep you in mind," kind of thing. And then a few weeks later, I got a text saying that, "Hey, we want you to audition," and it just went on from there. So it's basically a classic case of shoot your shot. Always ask. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. So
goal not scored, or whatever that or that Wayne Gretzky quote is. Right. But with being with that, like Andy is been in the business for a while. Eric 13's been in the business for a while. Like, what have you taken from like just being around them? I know Eric's not on the tour this year, but I mean, he's always an integral part of the planning team.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's nothing like playing 5-6 nights a week for a whole year to really get you used to what kind of happens in this business. And I think I haven't really learned anything in particular from any of those guys specifically, but I think it's just over time and being with them and doing the same thing and kind of knowing what to expect to put on the right show, and like how to work with different personalities and make sure everyone's happy. And I think that just time will kind of teach you some of those things just subconsciously in a way, I guess, if that makes sense. But with Eric especially, Eric is so good at the promotion, social media aspect. So I've definitely learned a lot from him in that regard, as far as how to kind of market yourself on your pages. And we all kind of had different side projects in the band. I have Cyberscream. Eric 13 has his Sex Slaves, and so we all kind of have different things we're working on. So it's cool to figure out how to market that within the realms of Combichrist too, so that's been a helpful tool to learn along the way.
Well, I for sure want to talk to you about your side project. Can you tell us all about it? Like what your sound is, kind of what your inspiration was when you started doing it. I know you've got another song coming out soon.
Yeah,
so
I do. Cyberscream is a thing I started back in the late 2014, early 2015. That was just an idea. It wasn't really off the ground yet. But it basically is like I wanted to play in a band that I wasn't seeing in Arizona at the time. Like no one was thinking the way I was thinking as far as the music, and I wanted something heavy and metal, of course, but that had that electronic edge, similar to like Static X, Combichrist, Rammstein, that kind of vibe. So just over time, it's just like I didn't really know what I was doing as far as like programming music, but just kind of started messing around, and little by little, I got better at it, and I released a demo in 2016. And then a full-length album actually after I joined Combichrist in 2020. So it's just kind of been grown a lot since then. It's really just been me in the studio. There's been a couple live iterations of performances, and I really want to kind of that's the focus of the project when it will be live, is like I want it to be an insane killer live show. But in the meantime, just working on music. So next Friday, October 1st, I have a new single coming out called Everything About You. It's quite different from the album that I just put out. And I think everything is just maturing more and more, which I think is necessary as an artist, right? But from people that have heard it, they said they get Queen vibes from it, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, like it's a very vocally driven song, a lot of harmonies. I think I called it a chaotic chorale of introspective dread. So it's it's gonna make you question yourself a little bit, and everything I write and do, it's about looking in the mirror, and kind of.
So basically, a song just sounds like the pandemic almost in general.
Well,
dread and all the other
maybe and the album I was put out, like all those songs were about at the time coping mechanisms, whether they were healthy or not, and in some cases, lyrically, it sounds like I'm the aggressor, but I'm kind of calling myself out too, in a way. So that goes for this song as well. Everything about you, we're all a reflection of each other. So if there's something that I don't like in somebody else, there's something it's probably I don't like in myself either, and vice versa. So it's kind of a look into that sort of, that idea of how we kind of interact with other humans around us, But, yeah.
Very deep, very, very nice. I'm going to talk about something kind of superficial for a second, because I know you did Livewire and you did the video, and I know you're like a horror guy. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a little like sax man from Lost Boys moment in that video.
And I play sax too, and I should break that out at some point. But it always it'll be too on the nose, I feel like, if I wasn't like already being a parody. You don't want to do too right. But I mean, of course, I'm a huge Motley Crue fan, and I wanted on the album that I just did with Cyberscream, it needed that pop of kind of West Coast Sunset Boulevard happiness in that album that's otherwise pretty heavy. So it still got that Cyberscream edge and that kick, but it was something that fun I got to do, and I got to work with Pyro. That was great, So that's on YouTube as well. So but yeah, the Livewire video was definitely a fun one to make.
We will link to that one below so you can see it. But you mentioned playing sax and you play drums. Obviously, you sing. How did you get into just basically all of this, like the arts?
I mean, I was always kind of musically drawn to like that sort of thing. I remember having a little play at pianos when I was a kid, and my grandma was always super impressed with what I would do with that kind of stuff. But really, I was just a band nerd. Like in 5th, 6th grade, I started playing in band and started with saxophone, got in a jazz band, got in a marching band, and just kind of kept doing it. But I started playing drums when I was about 18, and just basically self-taught everything that I've done besides sax. But I think having that kind of classical training background was quite helpful to teaching myself what I'm doing now, whether it's with Combichrist or Cyberscream and programming. Is like there's a lot that can be done from self-teaching, as well as learning from a classroom setting as well, I guess. But yeah.
And you mentioned working at Disney. So where would people have seen you at Disney? If they went to Disney, where would they find you most days?
Hypothetically, they might have seen me in Pandora on the, in the drum. If there was a drum show there, you'd probably see that.
Pictures now from,
I mean, I don't even work there anymore, so it's not really a big deal. But working in Orlando, you're always kind of involved in that sort of theme park realm if you're an entertainer. So whether you're in a band or an actor or a dancer, you have at least one gig at the parks. So So between tour, definitely you can catch me there. Messing around. Yeah, no, it's at least at Universal still. Okay. But and it's a fun time. It's great to have that I guess a variety of things to do and not just one thing. So.
Especially when things were kind of shut down, when they started opening up, it probably was nice to
definitely
get to perform.
I'm
at some level.
not made to not be doing something. It's I'm all for meditation and being still, but after 9 months of that, I'm like, dude, get me out there and I need to start working again because I'm going crazy. But
So where can people find you? You have Patreon, I know.
Well, that's the thing with everything about you. I'm going to try something new. It's not going to go onto any of the streaming services just yet. It's going to go onto Patreon first. So that's going to launch October 1st, this coming Friday. And we'll try that out and see how it works. But other than that, Instagram is my main thing. So just at Dane_White. There's a Facebook, there's YouTube channels. That's all, and it's all kind of linked together. So if you find me in one place, you'll find me in the other places too. But that's the main thing. Is Patreon is launching October 1st. That's the new one.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. I'm glad 2 years later and it finally happened. So, but go check out his Instagram page. Check out his Patreon. Check out Combichrist's Instagram page, and keep an eye on what they're doing. So, thank you.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.